Hi, I'm Lauren Sapala, and today I'm talking about the 3 biggest self-sabotage traps that writers fall into again and again. Now, there are a lot of self-sabotage traps that I see writers fall into, but these are the big 3. These are the big 3 I see so many of my clients and so many of my students struggle with, and that I myself have struggled with in the past as well. So let's get right into it because I'm sure you're going to identify at least one of the 3 as being something that you fall into again and again. So the first one is one that I've actually seen increase quite a bit since the pandemic. And I think this is because so many people were laid off from their jobs or went through big career changes or big life changes where they had sort of an unplanned chunk of time in front of them, maybe 6 months or maybe a year, and they decided this was going to be the year that they get their writing done, right? So that's the first big self-sabotage trap, right? Is this year or this 6 months in front of me, maybe even 2 years sometimes, this is my one chance to become a successful writer, right? Usually it's 1 year. People will give themselves 1 year. They want to go from 0 to successful writer in 1 year. And they're like, I'm on unemployment, I'm financially stable or okay for the moment. Maybe my spouse or my partner is working and I've worked out this deal with them. Like they give me a year, I work on my writing. Now that's a very admirable goal, and it's really great that they want to pursue their dreams while they have this span of time in front of them. However, setting the expectation that in 12 months you are going to start, write, and finish your book, or you're going to completely revise a book that's in a very rough, sloppy first draft stage, and you're going to get it to a publisher, and you're going to find an agent, and you're going to start marketing yourself, you're going to start doing all of this stuff in 1 year. When you actually start to unpack this and really look at it, you can see how unrealistic it is, and that 1 year, it sounds long, it sounds like a big chunk of time, but when you're looking at something like writing, especially if you're thinking about writing a novel, 12 months is actually not a very long amount of time. The second one is, the second self-sabotage trap is, I can't write until I have a significant amount of time to devote to writing every day and the perfect space. Sometimes writers will break this into one or the other, like I can't write until I have the perfect space, or I can't write until I have the time. But a lot of times they will couple these together, right? So they'll say like, I need to have, an afternoon every day or the whole day, 3 or 4 hours, and I need to be in this perfect space. I need to have this private writing sanctuary with my candles and my tea and my journals and the perfect playlist, and I need to be calm, I need to be in a good mood, right? So again, this is really admirable. This would be ideal. We all would love to have a significant amount of time every day to devote to writing, as well as the perfect writing space. However, that's not real life, especially if you have kids, or if you have needy pets, or if you have a day job, or if you're in school, you're going back to school. If you have anything else in your life that is demanding your attention, and also if you live in maybe a small space, like a small apartment, or you're living with your parents, or you're caretaking your parents, you're sharing your space with other people, having the perfect writing space, it's also pretty unrealistic. And if we wait around forever to have this perfect, tranquil writing space, in addition to 3 or 4 hours every day to devote to our writing, again, that's just never going to happen, right? So we're set up for failure from the very beginning. Self-sabotage trap number 3. I need to write an amazing book, and then I will focus on creating my platform. I hear this from so many of my students. They all tell me, I don't need to worry about creating a blog now, or a website, or a newsletter. I don't need to do any of that stuff. I need to write an amazing book first, and then that will draw in the people. If my book is good enough, the book will get me an agent, a superstar editor, an audience, newsletter subscribers. The book will sort of market itself because it will be this amazing book. Now, as you can see, with it, like with the other 2, there's a kernel of truth in here. This is not all lies and illusion. There is a kernel of truth. You do want to have an amazing book. An amazing book will really reflect well on you, and it will bring in readers, and it will sort of advertise itself by word of mouth, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting to have an amazing book. That will really help your cause as a writer. However, having an amazing book isn't enough, and a lot of times your first book is not the amazing book that you dreamed it would be, and that's okay. A lot of times your second or third book isn't the amazing book you would dreamed it would be. And that's okay too. You're learning as you go. But when you set things up like this, that I have to have this amazing masterpiece first, and then I can start taking action in these other areas of my writing life that badly need attention, you're putting everything on hold. And you're putting everything on hold indefinitely, because that amazing book will probably never come into reality, because the book we write never matches up to the expectations in our heads anyway. So again, we're setting ourselves up for failure. So why do we do this? Why do so many writers set up these self-sabotage traps? Well, it's a complex answer, and it's also an easy answer at the same time. The first easy answer is that we are afraid of failure, right? So if we set ourselves up for failure right out of the gate, we don't go through this process where we start to get our hopes up and we start to get invested, and then we fail, and then we're disappointed. Like, we don't go through that whole process. Instead, we're able to just fail right out of the gate, and then that's it. You know, we don't put any more energy into it. The more complex reason, however, is that we're really afraid of success. We're afraid that we will create the blog or the website and then we'll be responsible for us. People will put expectations on us. If we form a newsletter, we'll have to send good stuff out. Then there will be pressure on us. If we start writing our novel, even if we don't have the perfect writing space, then we have to write our novel. Then we have to go through the process of that. And what if people want to see it? What if people want to read it? What if it comes time to send it out, right? So then we get into the thornier issues of, how do I feel about success? How do I feel about being vulnerable? How do I feel about being exposed? All this gnarly stuff for writers. Now, if any of this is resonating with you, you are probably an intuitive writer, a highly sensitive writer, maybe an INFJ or an INFP writer. I am teaching a new live class this October. It's called Right Now, and we are going to be covering all this stuff. We're going to be covering self-sabotage. We're going to be covering fear of success, fear of failure. We're going to be covering self-doubt, low self-esteem, tying our self-worth up in our writing. We're also going to be covering the nuts and bolts of craft. We're going to be covering how to write, how to develop characters and build connections with characters, how to work on nonfiction projects, how to write a memoir, how to edit, how to market yourself in a way that feels good and not dreadful, how to look for a publisher, how to decide if you want to look for a publisher or do self-publishing. On top of learning all of this stuff about writing, everything we can soak up, we're going to be meeting twice a week for silent writing sessions. Now, those of you who have taken my classes before or worked with me one-on-one, you know I'm a huge proponent of silent writing sessions. Silent writing sessions are how I got my first 5 books written. And I wouldn't have gotten those books written if I didn't have the accountability of sitting down consistently with a group and writing silently for 1 hour. So I've built that component into this class. So we're going to have the live class once a week, a 90-minute workshop, just like I do my traditional classes I teach. There's a Q&A, and then twice more during the week, we're going to meet and sit down together and write silently. I open every silent writing session with a meditation. It's really lovely. It's a really nice energy. So if this is resonating with you, if you're identifying yourself with the self-sabotage stuff, you know you've got issues on, but you don't know how to get past them, please sign up for my newsletter list if you're not already on it. If you are on it, look for the announcements and the updates about that class. We're going to be starting at the beginning of October. I'm going to be sending out one more video in this series, and it's about the single worst thing any writer who's serious about becoming a successful writer can do. So stay tuned for that one, and I'll see you guys next time.